Welcome everybody to the Watch List, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latiners Network, where we go over all the shows that get released on streaming this past week, and of course at the end of the show let you know what's coming out so you too can create your very own watch list. Never want to hear there's nothing to watch because that's nonsense. There's always something to watch. And to help us decipher all that, of course, is my co-host, it's Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What it is, what it was, what it shall be.
Hey brother, what's going on? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, 3-day weekend, a little MLK coming up, so that's always nice. It's called sleeping in. And I'll say what's
Exactly.
the word coming to, because I'm here in Miami, sort of, and it's like 40 degrees. What the hell's going on here?
Technically Fort Lauderdale, but whatever.
No,
Pembroke
actually south of
Pines to
Fort
be
Lauderdale,
exact.
but
Yeah.
whatever. That being said, South Florida, deep South Florida, why is it 40-some degrees? I don't understand this world. But whatever. That being said, bad news to talk about real quick, but I'm going to give you some good news too. I like to give
That's
both
right.
sides here for once. But
Mm-hmm.
first, we start with a very sad, depending on who you ask, in memoriam, of course. A passing of a couple shows, both through Netflix. Oh, it just announced recently was Inside Job and Uncoupled. Both have been canceled by Netflix, so fans of the shows, it is what it is. Not like both shows. And Uncoupled was a cool show with Neil Patrick
I
Harris, of
can
course.
coupled. I never
Yeah,
saw
actually
Inside
got
Job.
got good reviews, good ratings. Was the top of the charts as far as Netflix viewership is concerned. But whatever, Netflix does what they do, and I don't understand what the reason behind keeping shows and canceling are, except unless you have the huge hits like a Wednesday or Stranger Things, of course. But that being said, yeah, sad passing on those. But we'll do the antithesis of In Memoriam. I wasn't sure what that was. I'm doing a resurrection, if you will, here. Resurrection of shows whose demise were greatly exaggerated, if you will. First one is Minx. We know we talked about this one being canceled by HBO Max recently after a very good. We loved the first season. Season 2 is actually almost finished. It got the axe. David Zaslav doing what he does best, taking on Warner Bros. Discovery. But its stars picked it up. So it's back on. So that's good news for those who have stars. If you don't like me, we'll figure something out.
That
So
sucks.
we're excited. That's a good one too, because I know we both like that show.
Absolutely. That's a
Yeah,
good
so
pickup
I'm,
by
I'm
them.
glad that was a justified pickup on that. So very small. It's almost like Easter in January here. The resurrection of a very
Eastern
loved
January.
individual show here. And the
Good
next
Lord.
one
Now we're getting
is
religious.
it's kind of
Amen.
resurrection somewhat, but it's newsworthy, and that's Luther, which is a BBC show starring Idris Alba, who was a kind of detective show, very questionable tactic detective show. Um, cool show on the BBC. Like it was like five seasons, 5, 6 episodes, 4 to 6
Hmm.
episodes a season, so it's very short.
Yeah.
Again, Netflix had this one. It's coming back in the form, I believe, of a movie on
Well, I
Netflix.
mean, that's been known for a while. I mean, we knew it was coming. A
It
movie
was
was coming
coming,
out.
but it wasn't officially announced as okay. Here it is. The rumors are out there. It's going to be done, but now it's definitely official. It is
Well, I
coming
mean,
out.
it's beyond rumors because we have a release date, so we know it's.
Right, it's
I
definitely
mean,
there. So that was another cool show. That's a very cool show. This started in 2010, or last for 5 years. Like I said, a good watch. You guys haven't seen that? Check that out. I think Netflix still has it, right? Am I wrong, Chewy? I believe.
that's correct, I
I
believe.
believe so.
Yes.
But that was a good one anyway. So yeah, so I guess bad news, good news. We give it, then we take it away here.
Well, and there's also there's some more bad news, hopefully good news. I still can't believe they did this. So Warner Brothers, media, axed a completed final season of Snowpiercer. It is not going to be on
No crap, I
TNT.
didn't know that.
Yes, they axed it. It was
Wow,
already ready to rock and roll for this production. And
I didn't know that.
say la vie, just like
That's
Mint. It's like we got to save money. Chop, chop.
wow. Yeah, that's
And so,
surprising. I like Snowpiercer. That was a cool show. Not a great show, but a
yes.
cool show. And it was I think one more season left, right? I think.
Last season, this is the last season, and for I don't know, this is I really don't understand.
Okay.
TNT doesn't have much of it. It doesn't have any more original scripted. I think this was the last one, so I guess I'd rather save money now than later. But hopefully, it's being shopped around as well and gets picked
Okay.
up to,
I hope
to
it gets
play the last
picked up.
season somewhere.
That reeks.
It deserves. It's already done. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
over. It's not
done.
like
Why not show it? That reeks of an Amazon Prime pickup potentially.
hopefully or
But
something.
hopefully,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So, oh, come on, that's in memoriam right there. I
Mhm.
didn't because it was 4 seasons. I used to only one season when that is invested in what's going on. Four in. Come on, bro. Give us the ending. That's okay. Whatever. I did not know that.
For real.
We give it, take it, then we take it away, apparently. So that being said, let's talk about the shows which we know are ongoing. Not a whole. That's not a big week, so we won't take too long this week. But we'll start with the. Okay, I'll start docu series. I didn't see this one. I think you would, Chewy, 'cause I don't have. I think it was Discovery Plus, and that's Gold Lives and Videotape. Was a docu series, right? Kind of go over what this one and your
More
thoughts.
documentary, right? I mean,
Mhm.
kind of retelling. So this is actually a very, very interesting documentary because this is spanning, multiple decades. The original discovery. This is all about a gold discovery in 1937. So right after the Great Depression, out in New Mexico, middle of nowhere, and it spans multiple generations. With them trying to get to this gold and the government stepping in, and so this is the story. The original documentarian is from 1985, and so he's back kind of retelling this and what's happened since then. It gives you the complete history of what's going on, but it's very interesting so far. I've only seen one episode, and it's obviously a weekly drop on Fridays.
Oh, it's a weekly show. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
Okay. All right. Yeah, like I said, I don't have a means to watch it. It did look kind of interesting.
yeah, but
Um,
it is.
okay, so that's definitely recommend for you. Another documentary on Netflix that I got a chance to see. I don't know if you did. Was a hatchet wielding hitchhiker.
No,
Very cool. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. A fascinating story, which I don't remember. This happened back in 2013. I have no recollection of this, so whatever. I guess things going viral weren't that important to me back in the day. But this one here is obviously about a hatchet wielding hitchhiker who went viral because he hitched a ride, and the guy he hitched a ride from ended up pitting a black construction worker on the street, tried to kill him, a hate crime, while he was in the vehicle. And I guess people would try to come help out. The driver will get out and start attacking them. So the hitchhiker gets out, and what else could he do? But he takes his hatchet and swings it 3 times at the attacker to bring him down. And he was interviewed at the scene, and this guy was kind of dopey, but kind of that kind of surfer kind of dude. And it just blew up. Everybody wanted a piece of the action. He was on Jimmy Kimmel. They were creating a reality show based on him and his life and all that stuff. I mean, it went big, right? Everybody loved this guy. Apparently,
I don't remember any of
I
this.
don't either. But fascinating story. 'Cause it's he. Like I said, he was home. They had to find him where he was, and they finally got a hold of him. And the guy who interviewed him continued to interview him, and they talked to him in a documentary. And then it ends up being that they discover in just a matter of 3 months after he hit the top of all heights, the lows of all lows, he was arrested for murder in a case years back where he told that he was attacked sexually by an older guy, and he defended himself, ended up killing him, ended up being convicted for 27 years. He's serving jail currently. So fascinating story. It's really cool, and how they talk a lot of the producers who were going to make him into a celebrity, star and all that. The producer of the Kardashians took center stage and tried to make him the next big thing and all that. So very cool story. In fact, I never know anything about this, but it's interesting, and it's the viral clips of him are just they're out there. He's just very charismatic and kind of lovable, but kind of dope at the same time. I think that's why people kind of gravitated to him. But yeah, fascinating story. Again, a good watch. Again, it's only an hour and 20 minutes, so on Netflix. That was a cool watch. I like to see stories I don't know anything about this guy. I just saw the trailer. I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. So I enjoyed that one. So those are two documentaries for you guys to watch. Shows wise, I talked about this last week, but we're gonna circle back because you hadn't seen the first episode of Mayfair Witches, which dropped last Sunday. I could see it started early because Amazon IMC Plus drops it early. I saw a second episode this morning. But Chewy, you go first because I've mentioned I thought it was fine. Chewy, your thoughts on Mayfair Witches? I believe you only saw one episode, the first one anyway.
Yeah, I saw one episode because I just continued the NC Plus for now.
Mhm.
But I mean, it was okay. I mean, there's not much to go off because it's just one episode, right? So where does it go from here,
Excuse me.
right? How much development do we get? Apparently, it did pretty well numbers wise for AMC. It even topped Interview with the Vampire
Really?
openings at season one. So I'm
Interesting.
like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So obviously, it's hit a chord with the big with the audience, right? With the key demographics for them. But I enjoyed it. It was okay. It wasn't bad, but let's revisit once we see the whole season and see how everything plays out.
Yeah, the numbers don't surprise me, but like I think I mentioned, it's hard not to compare it to Interview with the Vampire, right? Just another
Hmm.
Anne Rice property, right? And just based on one episode, that's a superior show just off the bat than this was, right? I think maybe my expectations
Well,
were
that one
along those
was
lines.
a lot more interesting. It was obviously well known because obviously it was a
Sure.
big production movie that from the original writings of a book. But the movie had a lot of star power, and so I think there was more appetite and more it's just better known, right? You think
No, of
everybody
course,
around
yeah.
you think of Tom
Obviously.
Cruise and Brad Pitt and the whole scene and stuff. And so this was a retelling, or maybe more accurate telling. Who knows? I haven't read the book, but versus the movie. Same thing with this. I don't know anything about the Mayfair Witches, but it seems interesting. We got a lot of supernatural stuff going on. So uh, no vampires yet, but definitely
No vampires.
some magic, some spirits. You know, obviously it takes place in New Orleans, just like Into the Vampire. So similar setting.
Mhm.
You know, I can see a crossover happen here somewhere.
That'd be kind of fun, actually. I saw a second when I saw this. One. I didn't watch Catch Two, and again, just okay still. Second episode kind of dragged a little bit. It ended interestingly enough. I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. But I'm still kind of waiting to really be hooked on this show. It's fine. It's fine. Not it's not a high recommend, but if you're interested, I'm not going to say don't watch it. You might find it interesting. There's something there. There's potential with it, but it needs to get going because now with two in, by three we should be hooked already, essentially, right? So I know you only seen one, but I'll curious to get your thoughts when the show's over. But yeah, AMC has it. It's decent enough. It's got a good premise, so let's see how it goes out. But it's just okay for me right now.
It's
Um,
good to see Harry Hamlin working again,
yeah,
eating.
it's always good. It's got to eat, man. It's got to eat. The next one here, Vikings of Valhalla,
Oh hell
season
yeah!
two, the sequel to, of course, Vikings. Which I really liked the first season. We both did. Second season comes out. If you guys haven't seen it, this show I can recommend more. I don't recommend shows that 3, 4, 5 seasons in most of the time because it's too much to catch up on. Right? It really is to watch. It's a lot. But with only one season out, this second season, this one I liked. If you're not a fan of Vikings and never seen it, you don't even have to watch it to really understand what's going on in this one at
Yeah,
all. And it's just more akin to I would say something along a Braveheart in terms of its tone and some of the brutality and graphic nature when the fighting, swords and all that stuff, that kind of thing, right? To a certain degree, the story is not that, but in terms of what to expect, in terms of what the show may look like to you. But it's a cool show, man. It's season two. And there wasn't a whole lot to watch this weekend, so I'm about more, maybe a little more than halfway through this one. I like what we're doing here. They didn't give us the same old stuff they gave us in the first season. Which is
no, this first season was it was not it was smaller in scale as far as what they were trying to accomplish. Right, they brought
right.
everyone together. They had a mission in England, and then obviously brought it back to Cat, and that was it. Right, and this season, I mean, we haven't split up. We're going to Russia. We're going to Constantinople. We still have stuff going on in England. Obviously, still got stuff going on in Denmark and whatnot. So it has a much bigger scale, bigger
Yeah,
breadth
I like that.
to the
There's more
storytelling.
multiple storylines, and I like what they each kind of doing in their own thing, and I'm sure they will
Hmm.
converge at some point. But yeah, this is a show that you like good brutality. This show has it. I love the character. Two brothers are great, and they're badasses. That the girls, even the girl, her name is awesome. She's a badass too.
Well, the two guys are not brothers. You're talking about Leif Erikson and
They're not
Sigurdsson.
brothers. I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah, they're not related.
they're
His
not related.
brother's actually trying to hunt him down. Olaf
Correct. Yeah, my bad. My
Sigurdsson.
bad.
Yeah, yeah.
I sing those brothers because they look almost the same. But
Yeah,
but
they all
whatever.
look alike. They all look, all those
All
Vikings
these
look
Vikings
alike,
all
right,
look
dude?
alike, dude. I'm telling you. And this is a great example of how cool Vikings can be when they don't have Kirk Cousins. Hello, the Minnesota Vikings fans. But that being said,
Oh Lord.
stupid Kirk Cousins. But it's a good show, man. I'm enjoying it, man. This is one I've been recommending. I like this show a lot. And again, you don't have to have seen the Vikings show to even to begin this one. They're related,
Mhm.
but not really. This takes place, I think, how many years after the events of
Well, about 100 years after
100 years, right? So
the
there's
events
really
of the
minimal,
original,
yeah.
yeah.
There's minimal
And
connection.
like I said, season one mentions those characters because it is part of their history, part of
Sure.
their lore. But season two, I think that just takes off for all its own. Doesn't make any mention of it. And there's no need to, right? I mean, they're going to different locations and
Exactly, yeah.
undergoing their own adventures.
So I'm saying the story is branching out beyond what we know, which is cool. I like that, right?
Mm.
Don't give it the same old stick. It's not just about, yeah. Essentially, it was about the battle of the crown, right? Who had the right of be the king of Norway, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. But it's gone beyond that now, which I like. to some degree. But cool show, definitely recommended. The last one here, Amazon Prime, that's Hunters season 2, a show I completely forgot about because it's been like
Season two and final
final
too.
season. Yeah, it's been like 65 years since the show came out. I remember being, just a wee lad, back in the day. It seems that way, but it's back on Amazon. I didn't remember when I saw the recap. I'm like, oh, okay, and it
Mm-hmm.
started flooding in as far as the show, and I was like, okay, I enjoyed the show. Of course, I had Al Pacino, who led this group of hunters who went. It takes place in the 70s, who were tracking down the last living remaining Nazis, essentially. That's the basic premise. Very pulpy kind of show. Very cool. Season 2 kicks off here, and I'm enjoying it. Continuation,
This is
Al Pacino.
2 years after the events
Yeah, 2 years after the
of
events of the first
season
one. I
one.
won't spoil it to whatever for those who haven't seen it, but it's a show that I recommend. It's good. I like the pacing. It's funny because there's two kind of stories going on here. One involving
Well,
Al
we're
Pacino.
getting a prequel and a sequel simultaneously,
Right. I'm not
which
sure.
is
I'm not
and
digging that personally. I'm not into the whole Al Pacino thing because I just don't know if it's needed. Right. I find the current storyline more exciting and more interesting because now the crosshairs are set on Adolf Hitler. Right. He in this show he's alive. All hands on deck. It's the ultimate prize for, of course, any Nazi hunter. And I like anything that when Nazis get to come up in, so I'm in just because of that. But it's a good show. It's interesting. This was very well paced. Again, Al Pacino thing. I'm not sure where that's going. We'll see. I got a feeling that could be a big payoff or just a waste of time. So it's hard to say whether I like it or not. I'm just cautiously watching that part of the show. But nonetheless, I'm enjoying it. It's a good show, man. It's good. It's final season, so I hope it ends well. I assume it's going to end the way it should end, I guess. But whatever, anything can
whatever
happen.
that means.
Chewy, your thoughts?
No, no, I mean, like I said, I went back and rewatched the last episode of season one just to kind of refresh my memory and cleanse the palate of how it ended. And it ended so great, man. It was such a very good show, and
It
that
was a
that
good
whole
twist in the end.
twist.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
good
I
twist in
mean,
the
that
end.
was like superb.
Yeah.
And here we go, 2 year jump. Everyone's separated. We don't know why. We know something happened because end of season one, they said let's all go to Europe and continue because they were being chased by the
Yeah.
FBI in the U.S. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, they're separated again. So and they start laying out some hints and some clues, and there's some other stuff going on, right? The one surprising thing was the one hunter that was captured at the end of season one, and where he's
Oh,
at the
right.
beginning of season
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, whoa, that's something I didn't see coming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I was like, because first it took me a second. Like, wait a minute. I thought okay.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
kind of go into as far as where his decisions made by his character now, I guess, or
Hmm.
where he was forced into. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I think it's just my memory. It's like I said, they're right in the thick of things, so I think it's a better paced show than the first one was actually. And I'm liking where it's going, and there's some
Hmm.
surprises, and then, not everyone's making it out. Jimmy on the show, so that's always a good thing. It raises the stakes, and you have Adolf Hitler, so yeah, the stakes couldn't be any bigger anyway. So cool show. I liked it. It's a really good season, final season. So I just want to recommend only 2 seasons to go back if you haven't seen. I really enjoyed the show, and that's basically it for this week. I said it wasn't a huge week, not a big week, and next week's not a big week either. January, a slow start. We're building up, but I will say things are kicking off in a very big way tonight.
Yes.
Something I'm
Yeah.
very excited for. Let's get into it, Chewy. So tonight on the 15th, we got two shows actually. The first one is The Last of Us. Of course, based off the video game, PlayStation game. This one's gotten some high praise, which I'm excited about because I've been
Yeah,
waiting for
high
this.
high score critically on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
Everyone has seen it, is loving it. It's got refreshing, re uh reinventing, I guess, sort of the zombie genre because we got really stale with Walking Dead. Let's be honest.
yeah, and this one wasn't, like I said, and you're not familiar with the game, so I'm kind of curious to get a perspective on someone who's
Mm,
not familiar with the game. I love the
yeah.
game. I played the game multiple times. This to me was prime to be a show. Is to me the best story of any video game I played, and then the best narrative told through a game. It's fantastic. It's so good. Things that I've been
I don't know,
hearing.
man. I still have a certain place in my heart for Metal Gear Solid.
It's
That's
not
all I'll
low Metal
say.
Gear, but it's more fantastical.
Snake.
This was more grounded, and the story,
Okay.
just the character, and I heard that's what really works is Ellie and Joel, the main characters, of course.
Mm.
We got
Pedro Pas. I'm sorry.
Pedro
Martel
Pascal,
Oberon and Lady Mermont.
the Lady Mormont, exactly, or Mandalorian and Lady Mormont.
Mando,
And
yeah,
I heard they're great because
Mando.
yeah, the show hinges on that. If that doesn't work, the show does not work because it's tackling of survival's guilt and loss and things like that. And again, it's not a zombie story. It's not like this
No,
isn't
no,
Walking
not
Dead.
really.
There's
Yeah.
some similarities, but it's not that. But I heard great things. This might be the big first watch of the year, must watch for the year. So I'm very
The
excited.
the only thing, and obviously, I don't play video games, and this is not intended for the video game audience. I mean, it's a good start, but it's not going to be, at least not from what I've heard, just a complete rehash of what you already saw in the
No,
video game, right? But what concerns me is some of the comments they've made and say they're not going to do a Game of Thrones. And what I mean by that, there's only two games, right, of story, technically.
on
And
this. Oh, I got you. Right, right.
yes, and, and
Um,
and when you limit yourself saying we're only going to tell what's in the video game, unless the video game brings a nice clean bow, and this is sounding more like circa. I get one season of Watchmen, and that's it. I,
this you can get. I mean, the ending of the first game is so fucking good. Um, God, I hope they stick with that. It's so well made, and the payoff is great because
I'm sure it's going to stick with the
no, it's gonna say
if
that.
you're
But
trying to
I
bring
would
it in.
say you can probably
But
get
if
because I'm
you're only
curious
going to
about that.
get,
Yeah,
there's only going to be two seasons if they continue in season two, and I don't see them not going to
I
season two. But
think
this is
you
what they
can.
said because they're not going beyond what they don't have source material
No,
for,
of course.
and
I
that
think,
was his comment of Game of Thrones, no
but do
source
you know?
material.
I don't know if they. I don't know if the season is going to encompass all the first game. I don't know.
Yes, yes,
Did they say that?
yes,
Okay, but
absolutely.
that's fine. 2 seasons. Listen, it's good stuff, right? That's all you need, right? The second game, which I thought was not quite as good, is very good. There was one choice people went crazy about. I like the choice. That being said, yeah, you can get 2 full seasons out of this. You can maybe stretch out that first game into 2 seasons, but I'm glad it's eight episodes, 10.
Yeah.
I don't know, eight.
I don't know how many. I mean, I know all I
I don't know
know
how
is
many, but I mean, I heard
The
good
first season
things.
is basically the whole first game.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's great. I hope they stick it. The guy who did Chernobyl, which is fantastic on HBO,
Hmm.
is a showrunner
Hmm.
here. So all signs point to great stuff. So I'm excited. Today as well, it's probably already out on Paramount Plus. That's Mayor of Kingstown,
Hmm.
with Jamie Renner, who's you all heard the news, recovering from an snow plowing accident.
Yeah,
So
that's a
here,
serious accident.
serious
He
accident, but
uses.
he seems to be okay. So good for him. So, but this one I caught late. I actually watched it.
I caught this as I was watching, Mayor Tulsa King, whatever,
Mhm.
and I was like, let me see, let me just start checking out some other things, and I actually got hooked on it, man. I
It's
thought
good.
first season was really good,
It's
man.
really good. Yeah,
Um,
it's really
a,
good.
a little bait and switch of the first episode, and no
Yeah,
big deal, right? You put the
whatever.
you put the star in the headline,
Sure,
playing second fiddle.
sure.
But short of that, I mean, very in your face, very brutal
Yeah.
as well. A lot of police brutality to say the least. But it's really really if people haven't caught on to it, should start checking the show because it's really really good.
It's a really good show. It's really well. I mean, it's Taylor Sheridan, right? Who did Tulsa King, for example, right?
Hmm.
He's kind of a hot streak. He obviously has Yellowstone, which is a huge hit, and the prequels, which
Yes,
is a huge hit.
absolutely.
He wrote like Wind River, directed Wind River on Netflix, on the movie that's on Netflix now. A great movie. Hello High Water. I love that film. He wrote that. He wrote Sicario. So this guy knows what he's doing, and he's been hitting it. He's been hitting out of the park with shows. So he's at the top of the mountain as far as that goes. But yeah, this is another good show to his resume. Recommend. So I'm looking forward to watching this later on. The 19th, the 90 show, that 90 show, of course, sequel, I guess, to the that 70
That's
show
like
came
that
out.
70 show.
We're
Yes.
back, and this looks terrible. But I don't know. I'm debating.
Why not? I'll give it a shot.
I'm
Why
gonna
not? I
give it a
like
one
this that
episode
70
shot.
show. Why not?
Short leash. This is an incredibly short leash. I got a bad feeling about this one. I really do, but whatever, right? It is what it is. I
Hey,
was a
it's
huge fan of
it's
the 70 shows to
it's
begin
gonna
with,
be a
so
lot better than Boo Bitch, all right? It's gotta be.
it's not whatever. I ain't gonna go there. Next one on the 20th, Fauda. It's a Israeli show.
Yes,
Season
this is
three or
season
four. I haven't seen. I know
four.
you've seen it. Season
Yeah,
four, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I caught this on because it starred an Israeli actor who we saw in another series that was like one season. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure if you see him, you recognize. You remember that show that we did a few years back. So this is just
Yeah,
season
no.
four, and I've enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a lot of subtitles because it's
Right.
an Israeli show, obviously.
Excuse me.
But they have obviously multiple languages, Farsi and whatnot. And so, good one of these good, spy thriller, international thriller type shows.
Also on the 20th, The Legend of Vox Machina, animated show
Yes,
on
season two on Amazon Prime. Yes,
season two. I
an
don't think I saw the
animated.
first season, to be honest with you. I don't remember seeing
What?
it. I don't think I did.
Oh my!
Yeah, I don't
I
think I
could have
did.
sworn you did. This was a This
Yeah.
was a great animation, very graphic animated show. I think first season they dropped 3 episodes a week, and this is where they started to play with their format. Like so, like with the League of Legends, where they dropped a couple episodes every week, and so this is where they started playing with that format a little bit and some of the more key shows. And it's a good watch, man. It's
Okay.
up there with
Yeah,
some of the other.
I gotta say this week's actually kind of busy week, which I'm glad it's not a busy week of releases, but
Mhm.
I'll see. The last thing here, I caught this one because I'm a fan of Korean stuff, and we get something called Jung-E. Jung-E. It's a sci-fi futuristic Korean film. Caught my attention because the director who did the series Hellbound, which I like, the Korean kind of horror show, which got renewed for season 2, and also Train to Busan, which is just awesome. So speaking of zombies, so it looks cool. I guess it's they're taking AI soldiers and doing what they do. Looks interesting, so I'm gonna check that one out. That's a film on Netflix, and
Mhm.
they go up and down, but it's got a good director behind it. Some of them are more optimistic about this one, so that comes out on the 20th. So I guess a little bit for everybody coming out. So between your watching, your Vikings play, you can watch the Vikings show because I think the Vikings show's gonna last longer than the Vikings play. I don't know, maybe maybe they went to that. It's pesky Giants. But that being said, pleasure, of course, always. Check us out of here every Sunday. The watch list, subscribe, like, share. We appreciate it. Comment anytime you wish. And we see you guys next week.
Peace.